Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Nina Silic, nutrition and lifestyle coach, and today I'm going to share with you my experience with binge eating. I know so many of you struggle with either binge eating or overeating, and this is something I used to also go through many years ago. So I really wanted to share with you my experience and a few of the things that I used to go through and some of the things that really helped me overcome that binge eating cycle. So many years ago, I'm thinking, what year was it? I think it started even before I got into the fitness industry and before I even started competing, I always had an issue with either overeating or binge eating and restriction and overeating, stemming right back to even, I can remember my high school days and then going into when I was at university. I always had this issue with food where it was kind of like this cloud hanging over me and it kind of consumed my life because I always felt like I had to look a certain way and I didn't really understand nutrition and how to fuel my body properly. So I always thought that to get the body I wanted, I really needed to just restrict my calories, cut out certain foods, do crazy amount of training. And that went on for years and years and years. And what happened was, before I even started contest prep, and we'll get to that in a second, I would restrict my calories throughout the week and either binge eat when I got home at night, just overeat, or on the weekends, I would just go crazy. I just couldn't control myself. And then when I started competing, this kind of got even worse because I would be on a meal plan. This is before I found flexible dieting. I was following a rigid meal plan. Now, when I first started competing, we're talking about no Instagram, no one preaching health and wellness and balance and, healthy contest prep and that kind of thing. It was just the bro style methods to getting the body that you needed to get to compete. So I used to follow very rigid meal plans from Monday to 6 days a week, Monday to Saturday, where I could not deviate from the foods that were on my meal plan. And then Sunday, I was told I could have a cheat meal. Well, cheat meals turned into cheat days because I got to a point where I would starve myself in the morning, that morning too. And mind you, my Monday to Saturday week was already restricted. So I was already freaking starving because my preps were always really extreme, short, calories were cut. So always hungry, always craving foods. And by the Sunday, rather than having a cheat meal, I would just lose control once I started eating. So I remember I'd always want to go for like a pizza or a burger or something like that. So my meal was a whole pizza, like huge. Like not American size because you guys are YOLO with sizes of pizza, but it was a pretty large pizza for me. I would eat the entire thing, then I would have ice cream, then I would have whatever else I'd made that day. Usually I'd make like protein balls or something and I would eat the entire batch. And it was not something I was eating because I was like, yeah, this tastes really good or I'm enjoying this. I was literally in the mindset of, I don't get this chance again till next week. I'm uncontrollably just eating at this point and my stomach is just gorged, like out of control. It looked like I was like 6 months pregnant, probably like out here. I had stomach pain, but I could not physically stop myself from eating. I just kept thinking, I don't even know. I can't even remember the mindset. It was just almost like you lose complete control of what you were eating and you just keep going, everything in sight. And the next day, every Monday was horrendous. I remember feeling, one, physically just so yuck because you consume so much sodium. So you puff up like a little balloon because you consume like no sodium all week. So physically, I just felt like I'd gained a couple of kilos, which I probably did on the scale. I just never weighed myself that day because I was too afraid to. And then I would compensate by adding so much extra cardio to try to undo all the damage I did over the weekend. and I would just beat myself up so badly. I would emotionally beat myself down and put myself down. There were so many negative thoughts going on to the point where I'm like, oh, now you've ruined it. Now you're fat and ugly. You just are never going to get to where you need to be. And I did make it to where I needed to be, but this was a constant cycle every single week. And it was just like the worst thing in the world. And I know so many of you still go through this now. It might not be with a contest prep, but you restrict Monday to Friday or Monday to Saturday or whatever your period is, and then you lose control over the weekend, or you restrict all day and then you lose control in the evenings. And then the next day or the next week, it's like this whole cloud of negative emotion that takes over you, and you beat yourself up and then you punish yourself because of it. So you punish yourself by restricting calories again and adding hours of cardio and hours of training, only to just do the same thing the next day or the next week. It's not a way to live, and it's not something that you should allow yourself to continue to do. Now, one thing I want to point out is that binge eating, emotional eating, stress eating, whatever you want to call it, there's different levels and it's different for everybody. And for some people, it's a much deeper rooted issue that probably needs to be taken care of by seeing a psychologist or somebody like that. So I'm just talking about my experience and how it was for me. So for you, if it's something you're struggling with, you really need to look at the deep rooted issue, where it's coming from, and whether you need some outside help to deal with that. So for me, what did I do? Well, how did this cycle change? Because this was going on for years and years and years, and particularly even more so when I was competing. Originally competing, it was just this whole cycle of gorging myself and then hating life and then hating myself and hating my body, and it was horrible. It was not a nice place to be in. Then I discovered flexible dieting, going from something really rigid and extreme to then have someone who is a coach who practices scientific-based principles and tells you that there is no food off limits. And I started practicing flexible dieting and tracking my calories and tracking my macros. That, for me, this isn't for everybody, but for me, that was the most liberating tool I could have found, because I was always in this mindset of good foods, bad foods. If the food isn't on my meal platter, it's really, really bad for me. Everything else is not good, and if I eat it, I feel even more guilty because I know it's a bad food, and that is just not a way to live. So once I discovered that, I was like, oh my gosh, I can literally eat anything I want to an extent, right? We got to have good protein. We need some, we need some good quality nutritious foods in there too. But to say, hey, if you want a little bit of ice cream every day, you can. Or if you want that piece of chocolate every day, you can. And after a while, for me, I started really understanding that I could incorporate these foods, and I spent a good period of time also not dieting, because for me, the whole dieting thing added to that need to binge because my calories were so restricted for so long. So spending some time actually reverse dieting, which is increasing calories over time, and eating more food and playing with foods and actually starting to enjoy food again, because it wasn't this taboo, it wasn't off limits, it wasn't something that I knew was gonna make me gain weight or anything like that. It was just so liberating. And after a period of time of practicing that, the urge to binge for me was lifted because I didn't have to restrict or cut out certain food groups. So that was a big factor for me. And I know for other people too, even the clients I've worked with, it's really been a huge tool for them to learn about foods and learn about the nutritional content of food and what they can fit in. Now, granted, for some people, tracking macros still doesn't fix that binging issue, and that's fine. It's not going to fix it for everybody, or it's not going to assist everybody in that sense, but it's a great place to start. You can incorporate things if you structure your week properly. It's just the most incredible feeling. So I just wanted to share with you that I came from a really long period of restricting and binging and overeating on foods, and we all start somewhere. Everybody goes through this, and it's about finding the tools that are going to help you overcome that. But I just want to remind you all that if you are in that right now, it's not a place that you are going to be forever if you just seek some help, or if you just try to experiment with different tools to help you get out of it. You might need a coach to help you, you might need a psychologist to help you, and that's okay. But that binge eating, overeating cycle is no place to live. You don't want to have this cloud hanging over your head where food just consumes your life. It really is not fun, and trust me, I understand. I've been there. It's the most horrible place to be. So if you are there right now, take the time to work towards getting to a place where you have food freedom. Food doesn't consume your life, but rather you can enjoy food, and you can incorporate food, obviously, fun foods into your life, and it's not a big deal, and you can still get to your goals. So that's a little bit of my story. I hope it helped some of you realize that you are not alone. So if you want to share your story, please comment below. If you don't feel comfortable enough commenting below and sharing it with everybody, that's okay too. You can reach out and connect with me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. It's a bit of a conversation. So if you like these styles of videos, please let me know. Please give me a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any videos, and I will catch you next time.